Dreamcast.
I have a list.
We're back.
There's...
We're back. So go ahead and tell
Hi.
me what your list is.
Hi, I'm Eric. I'm going to give you the list of the top 5 or 6 or maybe 7 things to do on a Sega Dreamcast.
That's exactly what I've been wanting.
All right.
So
the number one thing is that you try and load up internet sites on the horrible Windows NT browser, and it looks like total garbage, bullshit, and everything breaks.
Yeah, I'm
instantly.
definitely not doing that. That's
All right,
definitely
well,
not
you've already
happening.
failed in your mission.
Yeah.
All right.
Ironically, probably even less functional now because websites wouldn't work anymore.
No, I know. They would
browser.
they'd be even more broken than they were.
Yeah,
in
this is what I'm
1999.
saying. Yeah.
On your
I've
dial-up
considered
connection.
looking for a broadband adapter for my Dreamcast.
All right.
So
All right. The second thing you do on a Sega Dreamcast is you play a bunch of Soul Calibur.
I can do that.
True.
That I can do.
All right.
True.
Actually, the actual second thing that you should do is play the first level of Sonic Adventure, and then don't play any.
And
Just
then go,
check out that sick
why did I
whale.
get
Check out
this?
the Orca, Free Willy.
Yeah, you see the fucking cool ass killer whale, and then you try and play the rest of the game. You're like, this fucking sucks.
This game is
Yeah, as it
But
turns
the
out,
demo with the whale was fucking dope. So
Sonic Adventure was never good.
yeah, but the demo with the cool whale, man. All right, you listen to that. You play Crazy Taxi, and you listen to
Offspring.
the Offspring song,
Yeah,
right?
we'll do that. We can do that.
over and over and over and over.
You turn Shenmue on for 15 minutes, and then
No,
you
And you
pick
look
through a
for
bunch of
sailors.
doing
drawers
that.
and never see anything interesting, and listen to the awful writing, and then you turn that off forever.
How long does it take in Shenmue before I can play Space Harrier?
Longer than
about-
you're willing to do to.
It's probably about at least 20 minutes.
Yeah, takes a while. Let's see. You load up NFL 2K, and you throw a touchdown pass to Randy Moss because that never fails. And then what else?
I don't know.
I'm trying to think of, I don't know. You play some Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 because that's the best version of that game.
Yeah, I've got that.
Yeah. Choo Choo Rocket. You don't play Choo Choo Rocket? Oh, you can because it's good, but instead what you do is you watch that Japanese commercial that everybody passed around back in 1992 with the awesome song. 1999, whatever.
This game still looks really good, by the way. Like, this is
What are you playing?
Soul Calibur.
Oh, Soul Calibur. Yeah, Soul Calibur's
That was the first you said after you tried to get on the internet adapter,
We didn't
which I
expect you were following
don't
these
have to
directions.
do.
Okay.
I'm playing Soul Calibur.
These are just the things. I guess they're not really in a specific order. These are just the things that you do on a Dreamcast.
All right, well, we'll get through some of them, but not all of them. So, but this game still looks really good, and especially because the cable that I have, the SCART cable that I have, taps into the VGA signal. So this is 480p upres to, I guess, technically 960p, which is why it's not quite filling my entire TV, but that's okay. And yeah, man, it just looks really crisp and really good, and even the 2D games look
Tacky.
fantastic.
That's who I played.
I gotta find the live streams. I know they're supposed to just show up on the main channel page.
YouTube.com/c/on-the-stick/live.
Yeah, it never works.
Although this intro isn't as good as the PlayStation version of the first game, because that one has that awesome song. That's a total jam. That's a really long intro too.
Yeah,
Felt
Soul
really
Calibur's a
long.
great game.
It is.
I don't know if this is the best version of Soul Calibur. But
I think this is the
This
best
was the
version
last
of Soul
fighting
Calibur
game.
1. Yeah, it's
this
just,
is the last fighting game that I really put any significant amount of time into.
although I think Soul Calibur 2 is a better game than Soul Calibur 1. I mean, 1, you can play as Link.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. Or you could play as Spawn.
I was going to say, if you're playing the right version, you can play as Link.
So you can play as Link.
Yeah.
You have Pokemon Pinball for your Sega Dreamcast?
No, I don't know why that's so closely spaced in that ad, but when I was looking for Dreamcast images to kind of fill the box art space,
Yeah.
that one was the best one that I of the ones that I found. So I went with that. So I don't know how much Soul Calibur I'm going to play. I'll play until I lose a match. Let's go with that. I'll play until I lose.
It flowed so nicely. I don't know if I've ever before said played a fighting game that just felt like the way that it flowed from move to move and stuff just felt as good as Soul Calibur. Just in really incredible animation on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, the AI in this game is,
I mean, if you jack up the difficulty, it gets better, but
the default is pretty good. They're all chunks. Also, Kirik is a boss.
Kilik is a boss.
You did the right thing.
Yeah.
You knocked somebody out the ring and then fell off the edge, which is another important thing to do on a Sega Dreamcast.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I believe, in fact, so the arcade version of this game actually looks worse than the Dreamcast version, believe it or not. I think the version that is like sort of more out there, you know, the 360 and whatever downloadable version is based on the Dreamcast version anyways. So
The Dreamcast would have the Veronica board. In it.
Naomi arcade
Yeah.
board.
Are you
So it
thinking
seems
of the
like it should
Resident
be-
Evil game?
Basically the same then, you would think.
You would think, but Namco's arcade hardware was different than that, right? They used a system, whatever, System 2 or System, and it was the earlier iteration, like not the one that Tekken. It was like the same board as Tekken 3, I believe, was the arcade version of Soul Calibur. Yeah, man, this was
System 12.
System 12, Namco System 12.
Yeah, if I remember, the arcade version was based on a modified version of PlayStation hardware.
Yep.
Like,
Which is why Tekken, Tekken 2, Tekken 3, Ridge Racer Revolution all ported so nicely to the PlayStation.
Other things to do on a Dreamcast, if you're like me, is your friend buys a copy of Phantasy Star Online because he sees that it has co-op. It does have local co-op, but it doesn't save any of your progress.
Okay.
So you and your friend spend like 5 hours playing it, and then realize after you turn it off and then come back
your
next
wheels.
weekend that you have to start all over again, which is a real bummer.
Is it because you had to manually save, or just there is no way to save
There's
your
no way to
progress?
save on the offline co-op stuff. And
right.
Why does it even exist?
I do not know.
To sucker people into buying it and a broadband adapter. So that
Right. But then I don't
play
think
it
you could have
online.
played it online together co-op or anything. So.
I don't know.
That's
I
why
honestly.
he bought it because we were looking for more games like Baldur's Gate: Dark Alliance and.
Right.
uh,
I
that
never.
thing.
I never hooked my Dreamcast up to the internet, even when I had one back in the day. So I don't know how any of the online interface stuff actually looked or worked. I do know that there was DLC for Dynamite Cop with like extra outfits and shit for the.
Spend $4 for Dynamite Cop armor.
No, I think it was all free. It was free, but
you're calling Dynamite Cop a horse.
Yeah.
I do have. I also, as I mentioned in the email thread, I have the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Dreamcast game.
We should check that out.
I don't know anything about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure except rah, 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 rah. That's all I know.
I don't even know that.
But that's apparently the sound they make when they punch people a whole bunch of times in a row.
That's the sound that Jotaro makes when he punches.
Oh, okay. It's. I guess it's sort of.
Get
It's
it
it's
right.
the it's the
There's
JoJo's
subtle-
Bizarre
there's subtle
Adventure.
variations for Josuke and
Okay.
Geo.
So my understanding is it's the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure equivalent of which is the Fist of North Star repeated punching noise.
There you go.
Also, there's a One Punch Man game coming out, and I don't understand how that's going to work at all.
I've heard not great things about that.
Because the whole thing
looks real bad.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, but like if you were playing as Saitama, you would just punch everyone one time, and that would be it. Like
It's an RPG.
that's the
about
whole
boredom
thing.
instead.
That doesn't sound fun.
There goes Joe up the side again. Awesome.
That's how you do it.
That's
man.
how you do.
If you're doing that, then you might as well just throw it all away.
That's right. That's the move.
Yeah, so I think I've mentioned before, but since I'm playing this thing now, I'll review. So this Dreamcast that I'm playing on now, which I don't remember if it's my original Dreamcast or not, which sounds weird, right? But I was trying to remember. I was like, is this my original Dreamcast, or did I sell my original Dreamcast and get a different Dreamcast at some point? But I actually do think this is my original, like, launch day Dreamcast, but I could be wrong about that. But anyways, I put in a new power supply, which was recommended because the old one heats up quite a bit, and it also was recommended because of some other mods I did, which I'll get to in a second. But
and you put in new batteries in your VMUs.
I did not do that.
What?
They still chirp when I'm not going to play them outside of the.
Right.
You can see a little chibi
Controller.
Killick in the VMU window as I'm playing.
Yeah, nice.
swinging his pole around.
But how are you gonna? Oh shit! I can't even make the joke because I can't remember.
How am I gonna raise my chows in Sonic Adventure?
Yeah, chows. That's what I was trying to remember. Yeah, there was some stupid thing in Sonic Adventure.
Maybe you were gonna say, how am I gonna raise my pet zombie from Zombie Revenge?
No, chow was the thing I was trying to remember.
Yeah, and I guess I don't remember if it's Giant Graham or Giant Graham 2000, which is a Japanese wrestling game where there's like a wrestling virtual pet, like a wrestler that you have to train and take care of. But that's all in Japanese, so I never really did anything with that one.
Sure.
But
Anyway, replace power supply.
replaced the power supply, which was nice. There's a video on the channel of me actually doing all the mods. And then I put in a new fan, which is, I mean, my air conditioning's running, so you probably hear a little hum in the background regardless, but you're not hearing the hum of a Dreamcast fan. So, which is just, they're so loud. They're so loud. And they were a generation early on the really loud fans, before the PS3 and the 360 really pioneered super loud fan technology. The Dreamcast had an extremely loud fan.
Yeah.
So I replaced it with a quieter fan. And the big thing I did was I put in a GDMU, which is an SD card reader with now 128 gig memory card in it. So right now I have 50-some games on here. I can put many, many more. I'm not sure if I can fit quite the whole library, but a very good portion of any game that you would want to play, I think I can pretty easily fit on this memory card. And that's part of why I replaced the power supply, because apparently the original power supply does tend to heat up considerably without the disk drive in there, because the disk drive requires more power to run than the SD card reader, obviously, and that additional power gets dispersed as heat if you have the SD card reader in the system, so you don't want that. So yeah, that's what I did, and then I've got one of the recent SCART cables that, as I said, taps into the VGA signal from the Dreamcast, and that goes through my FrameMeister, and so that's why it looks real good. And it also has a switch on it, so the handful of games that are not VGA compatible, I can flip the switch, and they still look pretty good. So yeah. All right, so I did beat Soul Calibur because I didn't lose a round. So
Smackix says been playing some Dreamcast on a Nexus 9 tablet using Redream, great emulator.
Oh, yeah, I heard that was pretty good.
Onomatopoeification.
As far as I've heard, like, Dreamcast emulation is kind of in a better place than even like Saturn emulation. Yeah,
I think of any like major system that's been out, the Saturn is in like the worst spot for emulation. Although now I've heard multiple reports that the Polymega, which is a forthcoming clone system, actually does Sega like
Saturn.
Saturn stuff very well.
Okay.
So
I mean, I played some stuff on a Saturn emulator, but
it's rough, man. Saturn emulation is still, it depends on the game, but some of the games that people would really want to play, like Panzer Dragoon Saga, apparently like doesn't emulate super well. So I don't know. Can I skip these credits? Although these credits are probably not nearly as long as.
All right.
All right. So what did we say? Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, I mean we should. Yeah. And then you can turn that off probably. But...
We should make sure to get a copyright claim on this stream archive. Oh, I unlocked Twong.
Nice.
Do not disconnect the VMU from the phone. Alright. So unfortunately, there's supposed to be a way to soft boot back to the menu, but I haven't figured out what it is. Or I have figured out what it is, but it just never works for me. So I actually have to power the system down and power it back on. Or on the actual device, if I open the tray, on the GDMU, there's a button that skips to the next disc, which is very handy for playing like Resident Evil, Code Veronica, or D2, or multi-disc games of any sort. But I would have to skip through, however many discs there are between Soul Calibur and back to the beginning, which is the GD menu. So it's actually faster to just power it off and power it back on.
Fair.
No, so we're loading the okay, so here we go. So Crazy Taxi, and where's Crazy Taxi?
Under C for Crazy.
It should be.
Taxi.
Well, it should be under C for Crazy.
Mr. S. Akita Inu asks if you could try MVC or King of Fighters 99.
I do have both of those, so I could. The first thing I did was acquire disc images of all the games that I physically own, and Crazy Taxi is one of them, but it is not showing on the list. So I wonder if I removed it or if it didn't work.
ECW Hardcore Revolution instead.
I did a whole video about that not that long ago. I don't really need to revisit that at this point. Well, no Crazy Taxi tonight. That's a bummer. I thought I had Crazy Taxi on here. I'm going to have to look into that.
Well, we should check out the Whale and Sonic Adventure then.
I don't have Sonic Adventure on here either.
What the fuck, Joe?
Sonic Adventure, as you just said, is not actually a very good game, so like I didn't really feel the need.
It's true.
What else were we talking about? Well, we could do Tony Hawk 2 or
yeah, Tony Hawk 2 is good.
JoJo.
Yeah, we could check out that JoJo thing. Now that I have like some small amount of context for that, I guess it depends on which run of JoJo it's based on.
Oh, this game doesn't support VGA. That's fucking weird. Whew. Okay. I thought this game supported... most of Capcom's games supported VGA mode, but apparently not. So I had to flip the switch on my cable, but here we go. JoJo's Venture and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I don't know.
Say who? I'll be interested to see what characters are in this.
Me too.
Oh, that's Jotaro, so it must be based on that second or third.
I mean, this game came out in 1999 or 2000. Right.
Well, it's based on the manga probably, but I would at least recognize the characters in this game because that's one of the ones I watched.
Okay.
TJ Kitsune says if you wanted a real challenge of Soul Calibur, you should try
There's
playing the
horse.
Sega fishing rod.
I don't have a Sega.
Crazy Taxi.
I worked in a game store in college where we found like dead stock of those. Well, I guess it wasn't even. Yeah, I guess it was dead stock, but it was like we had a whole bunch of those. All right, Eric.
Is Whole Horse a playable character?
I don't know. I'm gonna do the story mode. I'm doing the story mode, so we'll see if it gets Jotaro, Avdol, Iggy, Maria.
Iggy's the dog.
Yep.
Wait, what was the last one?
Mariah.
What?
She looks like, I don't know.
Oh, that's the girl.
Whole Horse. Black Polnareff.
Polnareff.
Pet Shop. Chaka. Yeah.
Fuck.
Pet Shop looks like a bird with a helmet on. Oh, I took too long to choose.
Pet Shop is that's the Iggy and that bird have an amazing fight at one point.
I ran out of time before I could look at all the available characters, so I'm Pet Shop.
Onomatopoeification asks how difficult it was to get emulation running.
It's not an emulator, so
There you go.
pretty
Let's
easy.
talk about the PlayStation emulator that was released for the Dreamcast.
Bleem. So the
Yeah.
GDMU doesn't support Bleemcast, I'm afraid.
This is literally a fight in the show that you're doing right now. So it's also one of the greatest episodes of television I've ever watched in my entire life. Ice Bird versus Sand Dog. But when I tried to do Dreamcast emulator stuff, like probably 5 or 6 years ago at this point, it wasn't great, but supposedly it's pretty good now.
Why does the dog have like a sand dog
That's his stand.
above it? Okay.
So
That's what the JoJo characters all have. That's like what their magic powers are, is that they have these
So it's like Persona.
spirits that live. Kind of, yeah. I would say that. I mean, JoJo's from like the '80s, so
Yeah.
if anything, Persona's like JoJo. But
Ben Luhole says this JoJo game is decent, but a couple of characters are really broken.
Tell me about the broken ones. Which ones are broken?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So Jotaro is the titular JoJo, I imagine.
well, so there's a bunch of different JoJos. They're like they're all in many cases they're the Joestar family is like the main characters of the show. And so there's like Joseph Joestar and Jotaro Joestar and Josuke Joestar. Although the one that's been on right now, his name is Giovanni Giordano, so he goes by Gio instead of JoJo.
Gotcha. So this dude with his like weird knight is like kind of kicking my ass now.
Yeah, Polonare.
I am totally baffled that this game got a US release, by the way. Like, it did.
Yeah, I don't know
But-
that they're like JoJo is pretty like it would make sense now because the anime has been pretty popular for the last like 4 or 5 years, but
Right, but 20 years ago? Like,
yeah. No, there probably wasn't a lot of people who even knew what this was back then.
I remember there being like PS2 JoJo games or something.
was there a PS2 that got released in the US?
Something like that? Yeah. Because I remember hearing about, maybe I'm wrong about which system it is, but I remember many years ago hearing about, oh yeah, this is based on JoJo's Bizarre. And I was like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But it had, a unique enough name and that it stuck in my head.
Because like even there's a PS2 Fist of the North Star game that actually looks amazing. It's a fighting game that didn't come out in the US, and that was like an Arc Systems work. Looked really good.
That's one of the few
And that was a
animes
series that
people would have
actually,
known
yeah,
about.
people would have known what it was.
That was one of the with Dragon Ball Z and Cowboy Bebop, like one of the few things that people actually
Yeah.
knew about back then.
So now I'm fighting this dude with like a phoenix guy as his stand, I
That's
guess.
Avidal.
How come I don't have a stand? How come the bird doesn't have a stand? What's up with that?
I mean, you have cool ice powers. I thought he did have an ice. His stand was his ability to use these ice powers, but
I mean, it's kind of weird because like I don't have to stand on the ground. I can't really jump. I just move around as I please because I'm a bird.
I mean that makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean it does. It's just strange for a fighting game, you know. The game looks really good though. I'll say that.
It
for
does look nice, yeah. The TV show looks really good too.
So the show wasn't on when this game came out, is what you're telling me.
No, I don't think so. I mean,
It's not
I
like a
don't know when the
Dragon
first
Ball
season of
thing
the
where
anime
like
was
this
released,
has
but
been
it
going
was
on
like
for...
in the last 10 or 15 years.
Okay, so apparently if I knock out their stand, I knock them out. So that's good to know, I guess.
Yeah, that's how it works in the show, kind of, too.
What's so bizarre about the adventure? That's what I want to know.
I mean, all these people with crazy fucking super magic powerful beings living inside of them doing crazy shit.
I mean, for an
Seems
anime,
pretty
that
weird to
doesn't
me.
seem that bizarre. Who's this, like, vaguely David Bowie-looking motherfucker that I'm fighting now?
That is... What's that guy's name? I don't know. His thing is named Emerald Dream, his stand, but I can't remember what his name is. Kakyoin? Something like that. He's the first of the party to get recruited in the show. He attacks JoJo, but he has like an evil thing living inside of his brain that JoJo pulls out, and then they become buddies.
Well, that's nice of them.
Yeah.
This is weird. This is a weird ass game.
It's a weird ass. Everything about the show is pretty fucking weird, man. There's one episode where his guy's stand is a car. So he drives his stand around, and then it has magical, crazy powers where it shoots like gasoline into their skin and makes their
So I just
makes their bodies filled with gasoline like holes that they could burn, and so JoJo beats him by burrowing into the ground.
I just chose not to continue, and like Mr. King Dice popped up and turned me into a poker chip or something. I don't know what the hell happened.
That's literally a character in the show. That guy, he's the ultimate gambler. That's his stand power. Is that if you lose to him, then
He turns you into a poker chip.
bet he turns you into a poker chip. Yep. It's one of the better episodes, actually.
I'm just gonna go to training so I can see all the characters, since you were asking about all the characters.
Instead of having time pressure.
So Chaka. All right. So then we have Midler, Joseph.
Midler.
Bette Midler?
Joseph
Apparently.
is JoJo's grandfather. His grandfather, I think.
He looks like Indiana Jones with a beard.
He's the star of the second season of the show, I think.
Okay.
Kakyoin.
Kakyoin. That's the guy I was just fighting, right?
Yeah.
Dio.
Dio's the bad guy.
Okay. There's another
A lot of the
Polnareff.
characters in the manga / show are named after bands and
Right.
stuff.
And then we have Iced, Debo, and Alessi.
Those are all bad guys that they run into at various points in the show.
So there's a Polnareff and a black Polnareff. What's that? What's that about?
I don't know. Oh, there's like an evil. He also has an evil thing in his brain. You should play as Whole Horse,
I should play as Whole Horse. Okay.
like the best character in this show. They do a special end credit sequence for the 2-episode season, and it's fucking amazing.
All right.
Fan determined by Google says Ronnie James Dio. Yeah, that's what he's named after. There's a ton of characters in the show that are just named after. Like there's a foundation that is supposed to track like different stand users across the world, and it's named the REO Foundation, the Speedwagon Foundation, which is really great. Yeah.
Because you can't fight that feeling
Yeah.
when they come
I
after you
guess,
or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
This is where if Alex was here, he knows this stuff a lot better than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping Alex or Coffee would be around to explain to us.
I think the
what
guy
hell's
that
going
founded
on.
it, his name was Robert E.O. Speedwagon or something like that.
As you do.
Yeah, I don't know. This is definitely a Capcom fighting game.
Yeah, it seems pretty cool.
And apparently, Whole Horse can like summon a zombie to pop up and
Whole
grab
Horse's
people.
stand is a gun.
The gun is his stand. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Ken wants to know if we are Dio fans. Yes, we are absolutely Dio fans. Back in the day when we podcasted,
I'm riding a tiger right
a
now.
whole section after Ronnie passed.
I can see his stripes, and I know he's clean.
Exactly.
All right, well, I think that's enough JoJo.
Holy Diver's a great song. It's a great album.
It's a great album.
I think his absolute apex is probably the second album he did with Black Sabbath.
Is that the Mob Rules?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, if you listen
Heaven
to
and Hell,
Fools,
Good.
Heaven
the
and
Mob
Hell
Rules.
also has like a bunch of great songs on it, but I think
Yeah.
Mob Rules is a stronger like
Overall.
work.
Yeah, that's probably
Sign
true.
of the Southern Cross is fucking. There's so many great songs on that album. I like a lot of Dio's solo stuff too.
Yep.
But some of that stuff's a little too cheesy, corny. Those two Rainbow albums that he was on too are really good, especially what's the second Rainbow album?
Rising?
Yeah, with Terra Woman and all that shit.
You know, all that shit.
Oh, that
all
shit.
that shit.
Like a rainbow in the dark.
One of the best metal vocalists of all time.
Right.
You should play. Ken says you should play Holy Diver the game. I'm pretty sure we've streamed Holy Diver.
We've
the
done
game
that
at some
before,
point.
yeah.
There is
Yeah.
an episode of Obscure Old Games about it, and yes, I made you play
We
it.
streamed it at some point
for a Halloween.
For Halloween, maybe.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
years
it's
ago.
Nice Halloween thing.
It's all right.
I like
It's
that
not
game
great.
a lot. It's really hard though.
So Ken also says "Rainbow in the Dark" is my favorite Dio song. That's a good song.
My favorite
It's a
Dio
little corny, but-
solo song is King of Rock and Roll.
What did somebody earlier in the chat asked if I could play King of Fighters or something else?
King of
and I
Fighters
didn't wanna-
99 and MVC were things he asked.
MVC. That's right. Okay.
They asked for.
Let's
I would
do-
say that. So there's a third album that he did with Black Sabbath. That there's only one good song on that album. It's called "I," but it's fucking great.
What's the name of that album? Was that like a recent-ish one, or
No,
you were talking
it's,
about it at the time?
Or no, this is a later. Sorry, that's a later. Right? Is that a later Dio album? No, I don't remember. It's been a while since I really thought a lot about Dio.
I don't know. I do know that somebody made this disc. This is like a compilation disc of several Capcom fighting games. I'm not like totally sure why this even exists. Like why a person would. I guess probably because at some point they sold it on, you know, in like a bootleg market type of deal. But we're gonna do some Marvel vs. Capcom 2 because it's got a
But
real
yeah,
bad
there was
soundtrack, but
a-
it's real good.
Oh, he's on the Dehumanizer.
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's the.
And then, like, wasn't there a very
There was a
bad?
more recent one. Yeah. No, that one actually was. That one was
The-
better than Dehumanizer.
Well,
Yeah,
no, no.
Dehumanizer is not great. There was one that
was like in.
he got back
2000
together with them shortly before he died.
Yeah,
Right.
the early
And
2010s.
they forced him to
something.
change it to be
Heaven and Hell. Right.
And that record
Yeah.
is pretty good.
Yeah.
No, but I was
That's
gonna
like
say,
really
wasn't
great.
there another vocalist in Black Sabbath after Dio when it was like
Yes.
real bad?
Well, there was a vocalist before Dio, and all
Well,
those
yes.
are not great.
Whatever.
No, I'm talking about between.
Oh,
Ozzy
between.
and
Oh, okay. That might be the one I'm thinking of then. Who was that person?
Tony Martin is the guy that
Yeah,
was
Tony
after
Martin
Dio.
Okay.
Um,
Oh man, I forgot that you have to unlock everybody.
no, there was nobody between.
Okay, I
Ozzy
thought
and
for some
Dio.
reason I thought Never Say Die had somebody else on it, but
No, I think he had a foot out the door, but he was still on the record.
yeah, he's also on Technical Ecstasy, and those albums both stink.
Yeah.
And all the Tony Martin albums are pretty bad too.
Yeah.
It's Up Through Sabotage is all great, and then Mob Rules and Heaven and
And
Hell are
Heaven and
pretty
Hell,
damn
yeah,
good. And
agreed.
Dehumanizer has I on it, which is a great song. But other than that, it's a skipper also.
So I think the clear advantage that the Xbox version of this has,
Yes, the
which
song
I do
is called
have.
I, the letter I.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was gonna say that the clear advantage that this the more recent release of this game has is that the Xbox 360 version has all of the characters unlocked from the beginning. Because, man, it takes a real long time to unlock everybody in this game. Because, like, you like, earn, like, zenny, you know, like, points, money, basically, that you then have to use to pay to unlock characters and, like, additional palette swaps and stuff, and it's... When, like, my friends and I were playing this game all the time, because it was new, like, that wasn't a huge deal, but now I don't really know if I want to go through all that again. I have to check all my VMUs and make sure my old save file isn't on one of them, because that would really be optimal if I still had a save file with everybody unlocked. I lost a PS1... I think I lost a PS1 and a PS2 memory card in the move, which is kind of a bummer, because they're, like... Maybe they'll turn up at some point, but they were, like, my original memory cards from, like, the time when I got the systems. So I had some save files on there that were, like, you know, almost... Well, the PS1 over 20 years old, and the PS2 almost 20 years old. So I hope those turn up. I guess there's nothing, like, too sentimental on any of those memory cards, but... It's like some of that stuff I work to unlock certain things, and like I don't want to do that again.
Seriously. Ben says maybe later play Cannon Spike or one of the Power Stones.
Cannon Spike's pretty good. I played Power Stone. I played all of Power Stone 1 on a Patreon stream that will be public at the end of this month, so don't think I'm going to play that tonight. But... might play a little bit.
Also, then you have to play
Spike.
Power Stone. So.
Power Stone rules, dude. Power Stone's good. I don't know what
It's
you're talking
okay
about.
if you play it with some people, but playing it by yourself is not a good time.
Yeah, I mean that's
Play
kind of true.
Rumble.
The bosses.
Not great early Dreamcast games.
I have the N64 version on cart.
Yeah, I posted a link to Black Sabbath's Eye in the chat, so if anyone wants to check that out, they should feel free to.
Ken says, did you listen to Heaven and Hell on the album? Yeah, but that was what I was referencing.
Yeah.
Earlier.
Are you talking about the Black Sabbath album Heaven and Hell, or the recent like 2012?
I think he means the 2012
Heaven and Hell?
one that was named band and album Heaven and Hell.
Yeah. At least they made it nice and easy for us to understand the naming conventions. And all
Exactly.
That stuff. I mean, the first album is pretty good. There's like Heaven and Hell. The song is one of the best of both Black Sabbath and Ronnie James Dio's careers. So I think there's some weak stuff on the back half of that album, but that song's fucking incredible. And yeah, that Sabbath
Neon
Dio
Nights
reunion thing was
Heaven
better
and
than it
Hell.
should have been.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Neon Nights, Heaven and Hell, Children of the Sea are all inside one. Those are all good.
yeah,
But yeah, it's not Mob Rules.
it's definitely not rules.
I mean, pound for pound.
Yeah,
Mob Rules is one of my favorite Black Sabbath songs.
yes. And like I said, Sign of the Southern Cross is
Sign of the
one
Southern
of the
Cross is
heaviest songs that they ever
fantastic.
did.
Yep.
Awesome.
Turn Up
You know,
the Night
Rolling
is
Stone
like
gave that album 1 star, according
I
to this
believe it.
Wikipedia thing. I'm going to look it up right now. Well, I mean, it was a review from 1986, so I'll see if there's an archive online here.
Turn Up the Night is like a proto-Dio band song.
Mob
For the-
Rules finds the band as dull-witted and flatulent as ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Black Sabbath was never a favorite over at the Rolling Stone offices.
Yeah, it isn't easy to figure out exactly who deserves the blame for this sludge fest. Dio's lyrics are insipid and cliched. This is after he praised Heaven and Hell, which is like Dio's lyrics are the same on every fucking thing Ronnie James Dio ever did, from Rainbow to Black Sabbath to fucking his solo stuff.
Yep.
It's about rainbows and the Great Circle and some woman, either a gypsy or a wolf or whatever, fucking screwing him over.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's pretty much the list.
And also Let's Rock.
Yeah, rock and roll, baby.
Yeah. I think the first 4 Dio records all open with a song that is like, you know, as concert opening tune, like Stand Up and Shout, We Rock, stuff like that. Ken was actually talking about the Black Sabbath Heaven and Hell record, which is the one we were talking about, where side one is
Pretty
good
killer
stuff. Yeah, you should check out. He said he hasn't heard the rest of the record. You should definitely check out those other tunes I referenced. Actually, the song he mentions is not on that record.
Which song is that?
Bible Black.
Isn't that a King Crimson song?
I mean, that's a King Crimson record, Starless in the Bible Black.
Do they have a song that's called that from an earlier album?
That's what I'm wondering.
Is that maybe that's one off the new album? Yeah, that's off the new album. Bible Black.
Yeah, you're conflating two different
Well,
things.
or we are. I can't tell. Like I said, the naming.
Yeah, it's a song by Heaven and Hell. Yeah, so that's on the that's a newer thing off the record that came out. Off of that came off of W Now.
Rhino now
one
requests
with
he plays Space
the
Channel 5
angels.
or Nightmare Creatures 2. So
The one
I
with
don't
the
have either of
angels
those loaded up
smoking
right now,
is
I'm
the Black
afraid.
Sabbath record.
okay, yes, yeah, it's a disaster.
I would play Space Channel 5 before I would play Nightmare Creatures 2 if I had
Starless
either
and
of
Bible
them.
Black. That's
That's-
song.
Yeah.
Version on Crimson is the best version of that. Talk about great albums that I haven't listened to in a very long time.
Those are both true for me as well.
I haven't listened to a lot of old rock in a long time, actually. But maybe I should dig I actually probably have that stuff on my iTunes, buried somewhere in my.
Pull out your
music
hi-fi.
media yeah. My
Dust off your
hi-fi
LP.
CDs that are all scratched up that I bought used from like Sam Goody or Media Play when those existed. That's where I got most of my old rock records from.
Man, one of my best friends used to work at Sam Goody when we were in high school.
Arioka says, I hope you're using an arcade stick for this game. I can't see you're using a stock controller.
He's definitely using a controller. Did you see all the pain on his face?
Yeah, I was
Yep.
going to say, that's not a great choice.
It's not. But it's the only choice I have right now.
Yeah.
I kickstarted a new controller from
did you
the
go
Retro
after
Fighters people, yeah. So I'm waiting for that, but
Can't be much worse than the old one, that's for sure.
This controller is one of the worst. Like, it's not Master System bad, but it's pretty bad.
Bad. It's real bad.
It's bad.
It's not like Atari Jaguar bad.
No, it's not. It's not Jag bad.
It is one of the worst functional controllers.
yes.
It's also one of the most uncomfortable controllers to hold.
It really is. And it's also
Yeah.
weird that, like,
Because nobody's arms come out on the center of their chest. Like, honestly, all you would have to do
Like,
is
so if you were a
add some
T-Rex, this would be a
plastic and
comfortable
turn
controller.
the middle like hand grips out a little bit, like at a 30-degree angle, and then it would be like an okay controller. But the way it's designed is just really uncomfortable.
Well, also, like, it's weird to me that by this time they decided they were going to make a controller that had fewer buttons than, like, an original PS1 controller. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why would you do that? That seems like a bizarre decision in 1999 to be like, we don't need all the buttons that are on a PlayStation controller. This is next gen, man.
It's fine.
Or like 2 joysticks. Like every system that came after this one had two analog sticks. But they were content to just go with one. Which I guess, like, there weren't a lot of PS1 games that used both of the sticks all that well. But
Yeah.
still.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we had kind of figured out 3D controllers when the DualShock came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, anything after that is kind of slightly inexcusable.
I mean, that's
But you
what
should
I'm
have just
that's
played
what
Ape
I'm
Escape and then gone, oh, you do it like this.
Right.
Uh, Ryoka says, I love it for games like Sig Rally, but for TD fighting games, not good. Yeah, not good.
No, not good.
He recommends a Total Control 3 Sega Saturn controller connector for Dreamcast. Okay.
I've heard of stuff like that. I need to, but I feel like a lot of that stuff is hard to come by these days. I don't know. We'll see. See what I can get my hands on. There's a way in this game to turn Ryu into Ken and Akuma, but I just, for the life of me, cannot remember how to do it now.
So Nar asks if you like Ready to Rumble boxing.
It's
I
fine.
think we referenced that earlier.
That was
Yeah,
a fun,
Eric.
like, as far as launch titles go, that game was an okay rental, but it was not the successor to Punch-Out that I was hoping that it would be.
Has there been one?
Super Punch-Out.
Super Punch-Out is not a bad game, but it is
Oh,
not
Super
the
Punch-Out.
successor to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out that I
Super
hoped it would
Punch-Out,
be.
better than original Punch-Out.
Like original arcade Punch-Out or like Mike Tyson's
Better
Punch-Out?
than Super Punch-Out. Better than Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, yeah.
No,
Like the arcade
disagree.
one. Get out of here.
Hard to disagree. I think Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is much better than Super Punch-Out. Which is not to say that I think Super Punch-Out is bad. Super Punch-Out is definitely a fun game, but I like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out much more. I'm honestly surprised how much I remember of this game, considering that I haven't really sunk any... Like, I played a lot of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 with coworkers when I worked in DC. Like, we would just, like... We had an Xbox 360, and we would, in, like, the break room, and we would just, like, hey, anybody want to play some MVC3? And we would just play for a while. But this game, I haven't... When the 360 port came out, I played Coffee in it, like, quite a bit for a little while. But, like, that's the last time I sunk any real time into this game. I'm really surprised that I am not just getting my ass handed to me by the computer.
Let's see. TJ Kitsune says you need level 3 super and it's half circle back plus either both kicks.
Half
or-
circle back. Okay.
That'll get you Ken, I believe. So
Let's try it. Yeah. Nope. That's not working. That wasn't working.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Aroka says Saturn and Genesis have the two best controller pads for 2D fighting games in my opinion.
I love the Saturn pad. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
It always just felt kind of big and sloppy to me, but
The US Saturn pad or the later
I don't-
and
I don't-
Japanese one?
whatever ones that I've ever used, which isn't a lot because I've played a lot of Saturn games. But I also don't play a lot of fighting games, and I grew up on like Nintendo's like tidy, slightly stiff little D-pads, so it's just like the way that I like them, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. The original, the US Saturn pad is kind of a monstrosity, and I don't really get why they redesigned it from the Japanese version. But then later they discontinued the crappy US version and just brought the Japanese version over to the US. That's the one that I'm talking about. That's the one that I like quite a bit. I like the 6-button Genesis pad a lot too, but it's very similar to the Saturn pad, the Japanese Saturn pad. I don't know. I have a PS2 Street Fighter Anniversary controller that is like, I've heard that it was from the same molds as a Saturn pad. I don't think I quite believe that, but It's very similar. Like the button layout is basically the same. I don't know. I like it a lot. I think that the Super NES controller is a very good controller as well. I don't know that I like it quite as much for fighting games, but there were a lot of good controllers in those days. And actually, there are a lot of good controllers now, surprisingly.
PlayStation 4, Xbox One controllers are like excellent jack of all trade controllers.
Yeah.
They just do everything well.
Yeah. I also like the Neo Geo CD controller. I think more controllers should have clicky thumbsticks. That's my official stance. More clicky thumbsticks. This game has a weird look to it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like the 3D backgrounds, the 2D sprites, and like some of the sprites are like newer than others. Like I haven't fought Morrigan yet, but like it's pretty clear they hadn't updated the, like people used to joke about the outdated Morrigan sprite.
Mm-hmm.
And like
Fair.
yeah, it's like that Cyclops sprite is very clearly like the same one from Children of the Atom with like not a lot of work done to it. But Children of the Atom came out like 5 years before this game did. So it doesn't, like, next to like the Cable sprite, which was brand new for this game, it just looks kind of weird. Mm-hmm. And like I said, like, I don't know, I feel like the 3D backgrounds kind of, like, they don't look bad, they just sort of clash with the, I don't know. This is a weird looking game. I like this game a lot, but it's fucking weird. It's weird looking,
man.
The soundtrack is super weird, and like pretty bad, but like, I kind of have Stockholm Syndrome now. Like, if I wasn't playing this game listening to weird, like, ultra lounge jazz, I would think it was odd, even though I don't really like it. Oh, I lost. All right. Well, let's see. What time is it? We've been going for about an hour, so I think that's probably enough for tonight. But yeah,
good.
Dreamcast. I mean, it depends on what you're into. I know, like Eric, you're fine with just booting up an emulator, but if you're like a real hardware person, like I am, I think it's worth it to do some of these mods for your Dreamcast. I mean, again, depends on what you're into and how you feel about the Dreamcast library as well. But, you know, like I had the Dreamcast. I'm about $200 all in for all the mods, which sounds like a lot until you realize that like a copy of Mars Matrix costs like $150 now. So from that perspective, it's worth it.
Still a lot.
Like,
for me, it seems like a lot just because I don't think I really want to play any of my Dreamcast games that badly. But
there's a lot of stuff that never came to the U.S. Like, it's kind of like the Saturn in that way. Like, there's a ton of stuff that didn't come to the U.S. that's a lot of fun. There's a lot of shoot 'em ups that never got better ports.
That's the thing. Like the
that,
best stuff on the Dreamcast was like the sports games, the shooters, and the fighting games, and like old sports games are tough to go back to, and those other two genres aren't really my bag. So it's just like there's just not a lot.
I've kind of been wanting to go back to NFL like 2K and 2K1 and like play as the Brett Favre led Green Bay Packers and like see how well I can do. But yeah, I need to double check.
Randy Moss in 2K is the most broken. It's probably the most broken sports game character of all time, which is saying something.
Dude, Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl.
We played games that were like 500-0 against the hardest AI because there was a bug where you could just onside kick and get the ball back constantly, and it was impossible for anybody to stop Randy Moss from catching a touchdown pass.
I mean, with Bo though, like I did it recently. I don't remember if it was on like Switch Online. I think has Tecmo Bowl now, so I think I just booted it up in there and picked the Raiders and just like you can run all the way to the end zone and then like turn around and run all the way back to your own end zone and then like turn around and do it again and score a touchdown, and you just cannot be caught as Bo. Like, it is impossible. And that game even has a thing where like defenders run faster to make it so that you can't just like break away, but with Bo that shit doesn't matter. Like, you it's just like utterly broken. I
think those two and Ken Griffey Jr. from the Super Nintendo Ken Griffey Jr. baseball games, that's a good top 3.
That game was named after him though, so like,
right, well, right.
Know, that's an unfair advantage, I think. Let's see if I can unlock any characters here before I just cut off the stream. Your characters. Ready. Okay, yeah, they're all ready. What if I want to buy more? Okay, exit. Oh, shop. Here we go. Shop. Okay. I could buy Mega Man or Colossus, but I can't afford them. Does it... Oh, they change. If I go in and out of the shop, they change. I could buy a new outfit for Wolverine for 100 points.
I mean, you should definitely do that.
Oh, I can buy Shumagorath. And I actually like using Shumagorath, so I'll do that. You know, one of the weirdest things about going back to old video games is games that don't autosave. Like, this one obviously does, but it's like, I don't remember what it was. I was playing something not that long ago, and I forgot that I had to manually save my game, and I just, like, turned it off, and then when I went back to it, I was like, what the hell? And I was like, oh, right. That was a thing. You had to, like, manually, save your game. But... anyways, I think we're going to call it a night, so thanks everyone for hanging out, everyone in the chatting. I'm sorry if I didn't get to the game you wanted to see me play, but I'll probably bust this thing out again in the future. I'll make sure to get Sonic Adventure on here so that I can run away from the whale and Eric can be impressed by the whale and the bridge.
Yeah, it's a good whale.
Is that which one is Sonic Adventure 2? It also is like the first level. Is that the first level is running down the hill in San Francisco, right? Is that the first level of Sonic Adventure 2?
Yeah, I don't remember.
And then stop playing it after
Sonic
that.
Adventure is the one that was on all the
right, and all the commercials
the demo
and
kiosks.
Right, all the demo kiosks. Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, I'll make sure to load some more stuff up on here for the next time, and we'll see y'all later.
All right.